For over 3,000 years, the land of Egypt remained one of the most powerful and advanced civilizations in the world, ruled by mighty pharaohs who were seen not just as kings, but as living gods on earth. They commanded armies, built monumental temples, and oversaw the construction of the pyramids, eternal testaments to their legacy. Yet despite their divine status, the empire of the pharaohs eventually crumbled. But how could such a powerful civilization, which once defied time itself, fall into ruin? What events and forces led to the decline of a society that once seemed invincible? The story of the fall of the pharaohs is one of treachery, foreign invasion, political turmoil, and shifting powers. It is a reminder that even the mightiest empires are not immune to the passage of time and the forces of history. At the height of its power, during the New Kingdom period, circa 1550 to 1070 BCE, Egypt reached unprecedented levels of wealth, power, and cultural achievement. Pharaohs such as Thutmose III, Amenhotep III, and Ramesses II expanded Egypt's borders, created a vast empire, and built massive monuments that still inspire awe today. The people of Egypt enjoyed relative peace, prosperity, and stability under the protection of these divine rulers. The construction of temples such as Karnak and Luxor, as well as the iconic Valley of the Kings, reflect the grandeur of this period. However, the seeds of Egypt's decline were sown during the same era of prosperity. One of the main challenges was Egypt's increasingly complex relationship with its neighbors. Egypt's growing empire brought it into contact with new threats, particularly from the Hittites, the Libyans, and later the Sea Peoples, mysterious invaders whose origins remain debated by historians. The famous Battle of Kadesh, 1274 BC, fought between Ramesses II and the Hittites, ended in a stalemate but exposed Egypt's vulnerability. Although Egypt remained a powerful force, its resources were stretched thin as it struggled to maintain control over its far-reaching empire. Political and economic tensions also began to emerge. The pharaohs after Ramesses II were not as strong or capable, and internal power struggles weakened the unity of the kingdom. Egypt's wealth, accumulated over the centuries, was increasingly drained by wars, ambitious building projects, and a large bureaucratic state. The constant struggle to protect Egypt's borders, combined with the financial burden of maintaining such an expansive empire, weakened the kingdom from within. By the time of the Third Intermediate Period, the circa 1070 to 664 BCE, Egypt was no longer the dominant force it once was. The country had fragmented into smaller regions, each ruled by competing dynasties and local rulers. This decentralization led to the loss of central authority, with Egypt's influence on the world stage significantly reduced. The Nubians to the south, longtime rivals, took advantage of Egypt's weakened state and established the 25th dynasty, known as the Nubian dynasty. For a brief moment, Egypt was once again unified, but it was clear that the glory days were behind it. The real blow, however, came from foreign invaders. The Assyrian Empire, a rising military power from Mesopotamia, conquered Egypt in 671 BC. Although the Assyrians were soon overthrown, their invasion marked the beginning of a cycle of foreign domination. Egypt was no longer in control of its own destiny. In 525 BCE, the Persian Empire under Cambyses II succeeded in completely subjugating Egypt. This marked the beginning of Egypt's transformation from an independent power to a mere province within larger empires. Although the Persians respected Egyptian culture and allowed the worship of their gods to continue, Egypt was no longer ruled by pharaohs. Instead, it was ruled by foreign kings and generals who cared more about Egypt's wealth than its traditions. Egypt briefly regained its independence under native rule during the 30th dynasty, but this was short-lived. Soon after, another rising power would take Egypt under its control, Alexander the Great of Macedonia. In 332 BCE, Alexander conquered Egypt without a fight and founded the city of Alexandria, which would become one of the most important cultural and intellectual centers of the ancient world. After his death, Egypt was ruled by the Ptolemaic dynasty, a line of Greek rulers who ruled Egypt for nearly 3 centuries. The Ptolemies, although foreigners, retained much of Egypt's ancient culture, but the glory of the pharaohs had long since faded. Egypt was now a province in a Hellenistic world. The most famous of these rulers, Cleopatra VII, attempted to revive Egypt's independence by aligning herself with powerful Roman figures such as Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. But after her defeat by Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus, in 30 BCE, Egypt officially became part of the Roman Empire, marking the final downfall of the pharaohs. Under Roman rule, Egypt's once great civilization was absorbed into a vast imperial system. Temples fell into ruin, the last hieroglyphics were written, and the traditions of the pharaohs gradually disappeared. By the time Christianity spread throughout the Roman Empire, Egypt's ancient culture was largely a relic of the past, preserved only in the grand monuments that still dot its landscape.